An exciting day in crypto. I know things are going down, but it's not boring. It's an exciting day. What do I mean? Anything happening is good for crypto, right? If things are going down lower, well, then you're able to buy the things you really believe in at lower prices. Hopefully, you're not caught in any of the forest fires that are going on here. We're going to talk about the Grayscale ETF being rejected today, what that means, why it got rejected, what they're doing about it, etc., as well as FTX closing in on a deal to buy BlockFi. This is kind of a shocker. We're going to dig deep into that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get at it. So Grayscale, Bitcoin Trust trades 35% lower than Bitcoin price after ETF denial. So what that means is Grayscale holds Bitcoin. And when you buy Grayscale Trust shares, it should equally represent the amount of Bitcoin. So if I buy $100 Grayscale shares, I should get $100. Those shares should be worth $100 of Bitcoin. Okay? They should be worth the same as Bitcoin. But they're trading at a 35% discount after the SEC denied their ETF. So, by the way, the discount disparity has since recovered slightly, but only due to Bitcoin's falling price. Because Bitcoin is also going down with this news coming out and other news coming out, but this is the major news of the day for sure. Grayscale, if you're unfamiliar, is a trust, and we'll get into it. So again, trading at about a 35% discount following the SEC's rejection of its application to transition into a spot market Bitcoin ETF. Now, in the United States of America, there is no spot Bitcoin ETF. What does spot mean? That means the ETF, exchange traded fund, actually holds real Bitcoin. And when you buy pieces of that fund, then you are buying Bitcoin, but indirectly, because there's no regulation on Bitcoin yet. So the biggest money in the world can't actually touch Bitcoin, like pension funds, market funds, stuff like that. They can't even get in there and buy it yet, but they can get access to it indirectly. And that's what Grayscale did by creating a trust, because they can't have an ETF yet. But there is a Bitcoin ETF, but it's a futures ETF. Big difference. And now there's a Bitcoin short ETF too. Two very different things, and they're for much more sophisticated levels of investors, more riskier levels of investors. The spot one, though, is for your everyday person, for everybody. That's why it's such a big deal. And why, not just that it's a big deal, but also why the SEC is so slow to get into it. And stick around for the rest of the video. When we get into we're going to get further in this, it's going to be very surprising. And FTX and BlockFi, that you're also going to want to stick around and see that. So be sure to stay on this, keep watching this video till the end. So the circumstance is ironic, given that the existing discount was one of Grayscale's primary arguments for why the transition needed to take place. That was why they were saying to the SEC. Because last month, the company held a private meeting with the SEC, according to one CNBC report, in which it argued that converting its Bitcoin Trust, which trades as GBTC, which I'll talk about Grayscale Trust shares, that's what it is, to an ETF that could potentially unlock $8 billion for investors by eliminating the discrepancy. Okay? So in other words, last month what this is basically saying is if Bitcoin was trading at, 24, GBTC shares were going for 18. Get what I'm saying? 25% discount. Now, back then, GBT shares traded roughly at 25% discount against the firm's underlying Bitcoin. So like I said, 24.18. That's the example I'm giving. Meaning 25% less expensive than buying GBTC than buying Bitcoin. Okay, but as it got rejected now for the ETF, now it's at 35. And the only reason that they're saying is that they're only 35% is because Bitcoin prices actually went down. So Bitcoin is chasing GBTC, but GBTC went. Where's my camera? But Bitcoin's trying to catch it, right? Lowering the gap. That's still 35%. That's insane. Specifically, Bitcoin shares stood at 1862, which put that into 18,620. And the market price of each share of GBTC is $13.32, which would be like if Bitcoin were worth $13,320. what else do we want to say? Bitcoin ETF would allow investors who are uncomfortable directly managing cryptocurrency to gain exposure to the asset. This is what I was saying. Along with corporations that may be barred from directly purchasing Bitcoin by internal charter, which is a lot of organizations, and they have big money. And not just big money, they are the biggest money in the world. That's why the spot ETF is such a big deal. Grayscale is the largest crypto asset management company in the world. I was surprised to hear that. The largest crypto asset management company in the world. And Bitcoin Trust holds nearly 12.9 billion in assets, which is all Bitcoin. So I'm surprised that 12.9 billion is the largest crypto asset management company in the world, because that's nothing. Yeah, to me and you as an individual, yes, but a company that does stuff like this, like that is literally nothing. Unlike an ETF product, it's not easy to either create or redeem shares of GBTC in response to Bitcoin's market movements. This is why supply and demand can vary widely from that of Bitcoin at any time, creating price discrepancies. Like right now, we're having a 35% price discrepancy. And that's probably about the end of this article. But I just wanted to sum that up, that, yep, the ETF didn't go through. I didn't think it was going to go through, especially not in a bear market. Not going to happen. I don't know if we get an ETF. Maybe we get one in the next 3 years, but it's a ways away. I figured this would happen, but the thing is, the SEC had until July 6th to make the announcement. 6th? I think 6th. They decided to just get it out of the way, apparently. Now let's move on to the FTX. This is a big deal right here that we're about to talk about. FTX closes in on a deal to buy embattled crypto lender BlockFi for $25 million in a fire sale. Fire sale is an understatement. 25 mil. You'll see why. I'll tell you what their evaluation was just a little bit ago. Fire sale, this is to say pennies on the dollar, is an exaggeration for how cheap this is. But the question is, why is this happening? Okay. Crypto exchange FTX is closing in on finalizing a term sheet to buy BlockFi, and a deal is expected to be signed by the end of the week. 3 sources familiar with the situation told CNBC. It comes after FTX provided a $250 million emergency line of credit to BlockFi. The price tag is well below BlockFi's last evaluation, leaving equity investors in BlockFi wiped out and writing off the value of their losses. We're going to dive into that. Hit that like button if you're still hanging around. Go ahead and subscribe while you're at it too. FTX is swooping in to buy crypto lender BlockFi for pennies on the dollar. Term sheet is almost over the finish line, expected to be signed by the end of the week, again according to 3 sources. By the end of the week. Why? Why so fast? You'll see why. FTX is expected to pay roughly $25 million for BlockFi. $25 million for BlockFi. One source said, 99% below BlockFi's last private valuation. Jersey City, New Jersey-based BlockFi was last valued at $4.8 billion. Let that settle in. Wow. That's like a 99.9% discount. That's insane. The price tag could shift between now and Friday, the source said. An acquisition could also take multiple months to close. Friday also marks the end of the quarter. See, that's why this thing's in such a rush. And that's why they said that this was a catalyst for the deal moving so fast by the end of the week, because the quarter actually ends today, June 30th. So, wow. And right before the July 4th weekend, BlockFi CEO Zach Prince pushed back on the 25 million figure in a tweet, calling the figure market rumors. Yeah, I'm not going to show you the exact tweet, but the way he worded it, I'll tell you what I took from it. FIRESALE comes out a week after FTX provided a $250 million emergency line to credit to BlockFi. Equity investors of BlockFi are wiped out. Multiple offers were being considered since there was no shop clause in the term sheet from FTX. So 25 mil, why would they sell for 25 mil? $4.8 billion valuation. So the way Zach tweeted, we're not selling for 25 million. No, you really are. You really are, because the way I took it is he's including this. This is just them giving them 250 million to make them apparently whole with their customers. So really, they're selling the rest of it after it gets made whole for 25 mil. Call that profit if you want, I guess. I don't know if any of that goes to the actual investors, but oh my God. There's some crazy stuff going on. And buckle your seatbelts, boys and girls. We got more coming. If you think this is the end, I do not think so. I think there's more coming. I think July may be a kick you in the pants month. June was a kick you in the pants month. But with that being said, everything I do, when I'm doing it at this point, I've been doing it for months. Every decision I make is based on a date in the future, particularly April 2025, because the next Bitcoin halving, which usually kicks off the big majority of the bull market, is in March, April 2024. So about a year after that would be about March, April 2025, which should be much higher. Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. should be worth much more than they've ever been worth up to this point, at that point. So when I'm buying things today, I'm thinking about what they're going to be worth in about a little more than 2.5 years. That's why I'm doing it. If you can have a little bit of patience, it's probably going to be a winning strategy, obviously in my opinion, but not financial advice. Do your own research. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. Check out the link in the description. You're awesome.